Yama obi biara akwaba ediba Fresh Hope channel yiso ewe YouTube. Yeda masisa bring na mo baha na mo betie ensem ayede ebeboye ye bra. Nyame inshira ye nyinara no onye ye kese ye beda yaboafo eye efokuto mark events any simply tasty adaroma se unhia obi obepa montade contact efokuto na ope se obi handle weddings or events bano surprise parties and all monfre mark events na mope aduane nso a ede ifie aduane nso dia mo be fresh simply tasty for yedamu hina ase. And then we want to talk about life after divorce. Life after divorce, in fact, any easy. And we'll start by saying, say, aware eye de, aware eye fe. Marriage is a beautiful thing, but only if you find yourself with the right person. Say, uko wari, nipa onye right, wa right in the sense, say, ebiana wohono, eja wohojo umpe problem. Wakwa kofa partner chese na nu gbegbe chese onti ni hu jai onti bibia hu jai ni opeso oye na na oye ebi abakofo obi a onne wo en complement na wari so the enye competition. Bible say I'll make you a helpmate into no o wari obi a onne no ekwa akensi bia wo bibia mu o wari obi a obe complement o se wu ni bia baby I'll fall short no or no better in that aspect and vice versa, so that ejamu betumi aboa mo ho na mo tumi de atena aware nim. Many a time no people enter relationships with very high hopes and a lot of positivity, but enye obi biara pe say ebi obe ware na afi awareja ye beba na wate ne ho efree ne partner ho. Again nso so wo see ehu say edebia no enye ne a ye pe e wa brabo mu na yensa ebeka. A lot of times people are victims of circumstances. Nobody plans, especially when it comes to our rejaye. Obi ani wa ye fa ne say be ma enti ne sika nkwa ne tamfo. Obi ani ho nso a oba bia nso ni ho nso a obeje ne tamfo atumu say minim say ye metamfo mpe ma asem nso mpe wasem but me pese me no otena. Obi ani ho be yesa. Nti most often no obi era ware mu a okuta adwen po bi say oh me pese me ni nipa itena, me pese me ni no enyi ni ebo akokra ni abrowa, me pese me ni wo ni ehwe ye ma, and let's make life together. But sometimes unfortunately enkoba ne sa and ebia na enye wo fault ebi nso a na your fault, whichever way our jaye in fact enya de pa. And most often say obi jai aware in our society the person suffers a whole lot because one say obi jai aware or suffer stigmatization. Now stigmatization in comfort target wana omu lebo say oye divorcee and as oye nipa bonisem. Let's put it that way, nipa bonisem ena ama ebia waware anko ye. But let me just submit to everybody here, say it's not all the time ena obi aye boninti na aware no entimi njina ebia obema ni oba ate ho awareja yaba. You hear no ban ni subanye mate say yes wa yes inti na nikunu jano. And you know most often in our part of the world and as a country has say awareja yaba, the assumption is that time biano or bemano enejai obano on the account say obano eni subanye. But it's not true. Ebi o oba no osuban o but be man ni suban. Likewise be man nso so betumi awo suban na obani ni suban. But stigmatization no akwaya say because our society frowns on divorce. It frowns on our rejaye nti no. Once obekwa aware mu a obejai pe no. Na che say what dane topic why nipa bonini ama obia. But it shouldn't be. Say obi ejai aware wa wo ben no ana wa wonim no. The question you should be asking is, oh, eba ne sen na asumesi aware intimi ankoye. Say wonim obi story don't sit behind na wa can say oh omu ni suban asumesi ne bia bema ni suban na bema obani ni suban intima omu ejai aware. Eto de bia entiase enye adwuma. Eto de bi mpo ye family influence, a whole lot of things. Inti eyesa na omo majai no na omo fere obi jai aware o fere say ebia obeka because onim say oka nkrofo besere no nkrofo beka say ombebu ni din bone. But eya yento yebo obi yet otis obi ni obi jai aware tobo ne bisem ansa na where free esimu ajaje. Aside stigmatization, no, life after divorce, say wenije eso ete, especially for the partner na ono na yejai no, cause obviously no either be mano anase oba no ne dey aware no because say yenjai. Enti no most of the time no say yemfa ne say yenka say bia is always the case. Yemfa ne say obema no na ejai oba no. Yes oba no has decreased happiness. Neni enji because ebia na ogusu edoni kunu. But omaka intiase anye adwuma ebia bibia bema no gina no stand now we taking so beso ujai no. You just can't convince him. You be a beke bia no, you can't convince him into no. Yes na the other partner na osofa ne rebe ho bebre to the bimpa ne re to me where the person can go that sad and even enter into a state of loneliness and then depression. Because yes I to the person will want to keep to the self, or person will keep it to the self. Into that's where the loneliness comes in. Or Felice bia obi abesrin obi entie na asem nkofo be pointy fingers eje bia me now for e to dey because you even lose your friends after divorce. You lose your friends because everybody is thinking say e bia nipa bone, and nobody wants to really associate with you. It takes only few friends that really love you and understand the situation you are in. Those ones will stick around and try to encourage and comfort you all the time. But most times, if the person is not emotionally strong, we won't say, "Aye, or feeling lonely now I enter into a state of depression or enter depression." So I thought they be even health issues or be high blood pressure or be in the frustration po etumi call Adriane so obe didi sa. There are people like that. Or you're frustrated and are stressed that they can eat and ebia on share diet and mpoye ne ni betino ne bia wenya diabetes aka ho anase ne cholesterol ko high. Ain't life after divorce no is not easy. Eto de bi nso a che say emotional instability. Nipa no krampo goes through a lot of challenges sama che say it's not easy. Ebia won ne wo ho a little thing na akọ trigger bibi. Oh, make I say many asumesi wa aware mu no bibi se ni esiye enti no ebia woni ni di agro na woni na ka asem and ebi enya unye nipa na oja anu no, but ebia statements bi a wo be make a singular act of yours will remind the person say na wo worry obi say onipa no kwa say ni say no so eye. It's not easy for people that go through divorce, Honestly, divorce is a very tough one. And if you meet somebody that has gone through a divorce, you can only cheer the person up, encourage the person. That is if you can, or you are closer. But if you are not, let's stop accusing them and pointing fingers without knowing their story. And even if you know their story, you are not in the marriage. And they assume or say it's gone beyond your pay counselor, your pay software, and it's not working. And the best they think they can do is divorce. Whether you know somebody's story or not, you are not in a position to judge the person. And partners it has nothing to do with you. And he say, oh, you're my friend, I just encourage them. Because I told they suffer psychologically. Because the effect the divorce has on them, maybe let's just assume, say, the partner involved, whether the man or the woman, was actually good to the spouse. But unfortunately, our egu. And or dream maybe Nipano went through a lot of psychological trauma, maybe abuse in the marriage and all of that. It has a psychological effect on the person. Maybe Nipano enam na okoshia ubifufro, and Nipano is even good to onu Nipano, the person that has just been divorced. The person is good to the person. Kwampa ebia one thing the person may say, the person goes like, the relationship will end up like the other one, because as soon as so akabi say. And when I was in the relationship or in the marriage, as soon as he also said this to me, and I'm way so crampo na ebia awarejaye ebaye. Until once you see a trait or two, you mirror it to the past. And once you mirror it to the past, it makes life very difficult for that person that is divorced. Honestly, divorce, we must say, is not easy. Because aside that, so sometimes, you lose friends, you lose loved ones, you become so vulnerable. Because as people after divorce, they are looking for association. Okay? Because sometimes, onya ebia ne na fofo nya te say we divorce pe be say hey me person or then bad luck ba be sanimi o, that kind of thing. And then the person begins to withdraw. Hey, me say yes, say. Some may even relate it to spiritual background and say, oh, we di na chikwa and na mu ejai enti no e wan hwe hu yi a e san ye to no beto. Life after divorce, people go through a lot. Yes, Sana, they even, as vulnerable as they are, they fall into the wrong hands. Be a bema be an baby. The person may just not be right for him or her, but the fact say or pay that closure or per se obeying in for or per association or per se feeling loved and cared for and all of that, Obia keke obeba na akwemuno if the person is not very strong-willed. Obia obeba na akwemu keke and if a little love or a little concern, then you see that the person runs after that one. Maybe it's just a deception, but eja ope sa ope obia obema nisa closure no. Into once obi hu obi obema nisa closure, and especially with people that after divorce no mukuta enkola na. They are looking for somebody that will accept their children and love them. Into no omonam no muhu biya onye papa biya krampo, just because the person has showed a little love in a way to Nemano, the person feels like, okay, this is good for my children, without even taking time to observe properly. Said bibiami koi asoye mami anase nye. Asobebo me mana na say emwa me mano 2, 3, 5 years down the lane nipa we migusuni neti hono ma. What will the future be like, considering the fact say bia I just came out of a divorce, or I've been in a marriage that didn't work for me before. They tend to become very, very vulnerable. And this also has an effect on the children, because academically it affects them. They end up probably thinking too much. Some of them in Colombia, we are very emotional and very attached to their parents, and seeing this go like, hey, why did mommy and daddy have to go their separate ways? Ibia oko school. Now you know the parents after divorce becomes a single parent. Okay, so it's more like oko school. Mommy and Obi say me papa be see me mommy be say ni say. And on the other hand, the child probably just has one parent living with one parent. Into psychologically academically oba school untumi concentrate obey dey sua de obi wo ho normal crampa they suffer some psychological traumas. There was abuse in the marriage, and I said the way of dream who send and send be call. Yeah, we will say that children don't see, but let me submit to you, say children are very observant and they watch the things around them, and we may think they don't understand, but in their own little way they do understand a lot of things that go round. And and we may think saying any problem, and so even if we divorce, it has no effect on the children, but it's not true. Some of the children are being raised by single parents after the divorce. The parent is not even able to do the single parenting well. Okay, and so the child ends up picking up very bad behaviors. The child gets as vulnerable as being raped, and all of that is not easy. They just fall prey to bad people. It's a terrible experience for somebody to go through a divorce. But then again, it has some positive vibes. We can't always say divorce is bad, because sometimes the person has been in a very terrible relationship where you can't even talk, you can't breathe. Once your husband is coming home or your wife is coming home, then your BP rises, because the partner that you once loved, it has now become a scarecrow to you. Obi him say, hey, what be or maybe a punching bag, a whole lot. But the good thing is that sometimes after divorce, life becomes better for a person that has suffered in the marriage, because we suffer in the marriage by the grace of God. If the person is out of it, what happens is that the person tries to make a better or bring out a better version of him or herself. Okay, in the marriage there was no freedom, but once the person comes out, the person gets freedom. The person is able to move freely and do things that on a regular day in the house of the spouse the person couldn't have done. Again, obi so honoma bia otumi dwendwen yare and all of that. But once the divorce takes place, the person is out, then the person begins to find solutions to the problem. It makes the parents, single parents, strive to become a better parent, because whose responsibility now rests on his or her shoulder to perform two roles, that is the mom and dad role, and make sure the child or the children you are raising become a better version of themselves, or better people in the society. It's often said that when people divorce, after the divorce they come out better in terms of appearance, because they want to look good. And that's true. People actually, after divorce, not because they want to probably spice the partner or tell the partner you have lost, but I mean, the pressure, training, whatever was in the relationship, coming out has made life very pleasant for the person. Again, there are people, spiritual backgrounds. If you are with them, you never progress. But once you leave the marriage, then you realize that you begin to progress. So there are people that after divorces, you realize that lives are better in terms of juma or finances. It gets better than when they were in the marriage. Again, when you lose some friends, it's like a tree growing. But you get a new circle of friends. After divorce, sometimes you get a new circle of friends, and some of those friends that you make after the whole procedure are very amazing people that sometimes destiny helpers. until you came out, you wouldn't have even met them. People also go through divorce and come out stronger emotionally and in every aspect of their life. They come out stronger because somebody that has been able to face this head up, like shoulder squared, the person is has some ability or some strength, because it's not easy to go through a divorce and still stand out. Because after all the humiliation, the disgrace, and everything you may go through, no one say yeah. If you're not emotionally strong, you realize say ube suffer even low self-esteem. But those that are able to come out well, they come out becoming very stronger persons. You know, they are able to use their plights or their situations to advise and counsel people. They are able to manage their emotions very well. They balance their emotions very well when they are relating to people, and they strive for they try to rewrite their wrongs should they enter a new relationship. They try to rewrite their wrongs, because obviously there's no perfect person, and mistakes are or in the past, the person will try as much as he or she can to make things right in the next relationship, and making it so in the next relationship, any relationship they enter, after they've taken their time and know and figured out what went wrong and everything, in their next relationship, yes, some are likely to repeat the mistake, but others move on and they become a better person than they were in the other relationship. In fact, life after divorce just gives it's like life is offering another opportunity to certain people to improve on themselves, have the opportunity to think through life and make better choices. Some are able to even realize their dreams after divorce. But most importantly, in all of these things, some people actually take their time, or take this time, life after divorce, to reflect, and get a closer relationship with their maker. I mean, they build better relationships with God. They spend more time praying and trying to understand God's purpose and will for their lives after they come out of some of these things. So you realize that that is when the person even becomes a stronger Christian, because not because the person has been, or the person begins to understand certain things in life and begins to appreciate certain things in life. Hence, that close relationship or a different level of relationship with God. In all, Rebecca said life after divorce, ain't easy, but it takes the grace of God. And with Christ in your vessel, you become a better person of yourself, and God will most of the time reward you, especially if you didn't do anything wrong and you were a victim of circumstance. God always has a way of bringing you back, bouncing you back, giving you the right person, somebody that would help you to reach your destiny, or help you to go where you are supposed to go in life. We understand that God frowns on divorce, but sometimes the situation that you find yourself in makes it inevitable. You just do your best as a partner. Let God have his way. If you have ever faced with a divorce option, just do what you can to save the marriage. If it doesn't work, don't worry. Accept the new life. Just walk head high, shoulder squared, especially if you didn't do anything to warrant the divorce and you are a victim. It is not the end of life. Divorce is not the end of life. God, in his infinite mercy, will sort you out. Let's love people that have just come out of divorces and try to picture or put ourselves in their shoes and treat them right. The Lord bless us, and thank you for coming on the Fresh Hope channel.